Welcome back to FM Story. We're in the running of our 7th season now. We are currently sat 7th in the table. Hopefully we can bag a European spot through the league placings. We do also have a quarter-final in the Champions League coming up against Bayern Munich. So let's see how it goes. Before we do get started, if you do enjoy the video, please like, comment and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get going. We're in the middle of April for the second leg against Bayern in the quarter-final Champions League. April so far hasn't exactly gone spectacularly well. First game up was a game at home to Atletico Madrid. Not an awful lot happened in this game. There wasn't very many highlights. We managed to take the lead in the 91st minute, and then as has been the norm this season, we conceded a 94th minute equaliser that was touch and go to being onside. And yeah, disappointing, although given how the game went, the lack of actual highlights, it was probably the right result. We then followed that up with the first leg of the quarter-final against Bayern Munich. The home leg, we got off to a cracking start. We were 2-0 up before half-time, looked pretty in control of the game. And then in the second half, Bayern Munich turned it on. Just after the hour, they'd pulled it back to 2-2. We got lucky with a Upamecano own goal as he slid in to block a cross to put us 3-2 up. But they then went up the other end right near the end of the game again, and we conceded. Although, when you look at the chances they had, the XG they had, we were lucky to even get away with a draw in this game, I think. Obviously, the second leg's going to be tough. We were missing Danny Vivian and Nico Williams, who were suspended. Aymeric Laporte is injured again. Since we've signed him, he spent more time injured than he has available. But we're still in with a chance. We just need to get a result in Munich, and we might be through to the semi-final. But it's definitely going to be tough. And then we followed that up with a 1-1 draw against Granada. We really weren't at the races at any point in this game. We were off the pace the whole game, and luckily we managed to pick up a late equaliser. But even after we equalised, Granada looked like the team that were gonna go on and win the game if anyone was. So we kind of got away with one there. What this means in terms of the league table is that we're currently still sat in 7th. We're a point behind Valencia. Hopefully we can get into that top 6. Otherwise we're relying on someone not in Europe. So hopefully we can get into that top 6. Otherwise we're relying on someone in the top 6 winning the Copa del Rey, where make the European places come down to 7th. And if it does, then we'd be looking at the Europa Conference League place there. But yeah, the fact that we've drawn 9 games this season, most of those games were from conceding goals late on. There's obviously, if you look at the goal difference as well, we've got the third best goal difference in the league, but we're in 7th, drawn 9 games. If we turned a couple of those into wins, we're well up into Europe. And most of those draws did come with injury time equalisers for other teams. So obviously we might have to do a bit of work in the transfer market, just because there are bits and pieces of the team that just don't seem to work at the moment. We may need to revisit the tactic and work something out from there. But now the most important thing is to see if we can get a result in the second leg of the Champions League quarter-final, and hopefully we can get through to the semi-final. We're not making any massive changes to the side. Alex Sola's playing right back. From the first leg, Danny Vivian's back in at centre-half. We have dropped Julian John Guerrero to the bench just because he hasn't really done it in the last couple of games, and we've brought Danny Rodriguez in to play behind Unai Ribeiro just to see if that can provide a spark. Sunset has been out injured since before the first leg. He passed the fitness test, but was only fit enough to play 45 minutes, so he may come on the bench and off the bench in the second half if we're still in with a chance and we need something. Right, a corner for them. And Upamecano's headed home at the near post. We kept them pretty quiet for half an hour, and then neither the keeper nor the man on the post could keep that out. Right, Normand with a free kick. What on earth was that? That is a hell of an own goal. That, I mean, that's going out for a goal kick. Our player's not getting on the end of it. I mean, that's a special own goal. I mean, it's a reasonably okay first half. I mean, we kept them quiet for at least the first half hour. Um, then we went behind, but I mean, we've not looked like scoring apart from a truly tremendous own goal from Alphonso Davies. Yeah, I think we just need to keep more the same, keep it tight, and see if we can get anything from them. Vivian looking for Nico Serrano, but he's lost out to Pavard. That was dreadful. It's a poor header. What a save. What a block. Another great save. How have we got away without conceding that? Nico Williams. Ibanez. Right, Sunset. Villabra's through. Oh! Are we going to get another chance as good as that? Oh no, we've got it back. Oh! Oh! He could have taken a touch. Nico Williams. Oh, again. 2 really weak attempts. I don't think that is offside. We're going to regret wasting those chances now. The Villabra one in normal time. Those two Nico Williams ones in extra time. And the Champions League dream comes to an end for another season. I don't think you can deny, based on the number of chances they created, they probably deserved that. But we missed some big, big chances. I mean, Villabra in normal time could have seen us through. And Nico Williams had a couple of decent chances in that first half of extra time before they scored. But just not good enough at this stage. We've made it to the final day of the season, and since we got beaten by, or knocked out by Bayern Munich, things by and large have gone well, and we actually still have something to play for on the last day of the season. So what we'll look at is just the table first of all. So going into the last day of the season, we're currently in 5th on 66 points. We're guaranteed at least Europa League football for next season, but there is still an outside chance that we can qualify for the Champions League. We're a point behind Real Sociedad and level on points with Villarreal. We're playing Alaves, who are still fighting to avoid relegation, whereas Real Sociedad and Villarreal are playing each other. So if Villarreal could win or get a draw, and we can beat Alaves, then we could still even make it into the Champions League for next season. But the start of the season, the target was Europa League, and for a big chunk of the season, it didn't look that likely. So to be in a position where we can still possibly get the Champions League, it's a good place to be at this stage. So since the game against Bayern Munich, we've played 6 games in the league and we've won 5 of them. The first one was a trip to Valladolid, who beat us earlier in the season. We got off to a great start. We were 2-0 up at half-time, picked up a couple of late goals to really secure the result, and then they scored a late goal in injury time just to pull it back to 4-1. Then we were at home to Almeria, and probably one of our worst performances of the season. Just nothing on target, really. They got a goal from a corner, a header. Really not an awful lot happened in the game. There was barely any highlights. And we got beaten. We then bounced back from that game with a 2-0 victory at home to Zaragoza. Basically, a really decent team performance. We were 2-0 up before half-time again and just controlled the game and never really gave them a sniff and ran out 2-0 victors. We then played home against Rayo Vallecano, who have been a bit of a bogey team for us in the past. I think they've got probably the best record against us in the whole save, possibly even better than Real Madrid, because at least we've won a few games against Real Madrid. Vallecano we seem to struggle against every time. However, we got off to a great start and we're in front after 15 seconds. They didn't have a shot on target. They didn't really look like scoring, and we just controlled the game and added a second through Unai Ribeiro getting a brace to win another game 2-0. And at this stage, it looked like it was a battle between us and Valencia for the last Europa League place. We were ahead of them going into this game, but they did have a game in hand on us. So it was important for us to get a result. In the end, we came away with a 1-0 win, but another dull game where there wasn't very many chances. Neither team really looked like scoring until we did. We were helped because we did pick up the goal just after they were reduced to 10 men, but we were able to stop them from having any shots on target and sort of saw the game out pretty comfortably from then on. And then in our most recent game, we went away to Getafe, and early on, it looked like this was us throwing away chances of finishing in European positions, or certainly we'd already qualified for the Europa League, but throwing away the chance of qualifying for the Champions League. They got a penalty early on and scored it, but we were able to bounce back, and we were 2-0, so back to 2-1 up before half time. Unai Ribeiro completed his hat trick in the second half. He's really kind of come on in the second half of the season. Laporte picked up his first goal of this spell with us, and Guerrero added a fifth just to really seal the result. Perhaps a bit more of a wide scoreline than you would think based on the XG. But in the end, we did enough. We won 5-1, and we've put ourselves in a position where we can possibly still qualify for the Champions League. We've made one change from that last game against Getafe, with Robin Lenormand coming back from suspension to replace Raul Huarte in the centre of the defence. But otherwise, it's the exact same team that we put out for that last game, and hopefully we can put in a similar performance and at least put the pressure on Real Sociedad for that last Champions League place. Right, Laporte at the back, looking for Nico Williams over the top. Right. Oh! That would have been a perfect start. Lovely ball for Nico Williams. Cutting in on goal. Exactly what we needed to put the pressure on. So as things stand, that should see us into the Champions League positions. But still a long way to go. Lovely ball. He just drives inside and then across the face of the keeper into the far corner. Great start. Right. Oh, can we not, please? Oh. If we could avoid doing stupid stuff like that, that would be most appreciated. Right. Basically, we've done everything that we've asked of them. A couple of minor heart attacks from them playing balls over the top of the defence, but everything's going well. So far, still 0-0 at half time between Sociedad and Villarreal. Fingers crossed it stays the same way there, and that we don't do anything equally stupid in this game. No. No. Oh, come on. We're not going to throw this away, surely. Right. Where have you found 5 minutes from, ref? Come on. Blow your whistle. Oh God, who's on penalties? Nico Williams. Right. Now it really is just down to what happens in that other game. And let's hope that Sociedad don't get a late winner. How on earth have we managed to finish in the Champions League places? Wow. I mean, we made that second half a bit nervier than it needed to be done, but in the end, we did our job, and the result went our way in the other game. So it's time for the end of season review, which is looking probably going to look a bit better now than it looked like it was going to look a month and a half ago. In terms of the signings, we only made 3, and none of them really had a very great impact. We signed Jose Herrero in the summer, and it was more young player, going to develop into a decent player, but he really didn't get a chance in the team this season. We signed Laporte at the start of the transfer window and played quite well when he was available, but he was unavailable for more than he was available in the second half of the season. So hopefully we can keep him fit next season, because it allows us to play with him and Lenormand in the centre of defence and Danny Vivian alongside Sunset in the centre of the midfield. With allows Guillemont to play at right back as well. And then Valabra came in, got a vital goal, could have put us through against Bayern Munich when he missed the one-on-one with the keeper in normal time, but gives us some depth and some experience behind Unai Ribeiro, who's turned into our number 1 centre forward this season. So as far as the league season's concerned, we were expected to qualify for the Europa League. A lot of the season, it looked like we were going to struggle to qualify for the Europa League. We might qualify for the Conference League, or might even finish outside of the European spots. But somehow we managed to sneak home on the last day of the season to qualify for the Champions League. Makes it sweeter that we finished above Real Sociedad as well. Nico Williams was the top goal scorer. We had some bad patches in the season. I mean, we had a horrible start to the season. I mean, you look at Barcelona away, a game against Sociedad, Real Madrid away, and then you got Sevilla in the first 4 games. We had a really bad run of form end of November through to the end of January, where we won. I mean, we didn't lose any games in the league. We only won 1 though, and drew 6 out of the 7 games between the end of November and the end of January. But then after that, we obviously lost to Real Madrid. We had a horrific loss to Real Sporting to Gijón, but we really picked it up, and especially that end to the season. The last 7 games there, we won 6 of them. Really exactly what we needed to get to the position we finished in. The Champions League, we were expected to be competitive, and somehow we made it all the way through to the quarter-final. We actually qualified in the top 8 in the league phase. We lost just the 2 games, the first and the last one, against Man United and Milan. By the time we played in Milan, we'd already qualified for the last 16. So there wasn't an awful lot riding on that game. We came back and sneaked past Dortmund in the last 16. And we could have knocked Bayern Munich out. We had chances. They obviously had more chances than us, but the miss from Valabra in normal time, the chances that Nico Williams had in the first half of extra time, we should have done better with all of them. and then obviously they nicked a winner in extra time. Copa del Rey was a disaster this season, going out on penalties at the first hurdle, and the Supercopa de España really just, we were 3-1 up and then threw it away to lose 5-3. So we went with the 4-2-3-1 this season. We did make a bit of a tweak to it midway through the season after while we were going through that spell of drawing every game under the sun, to make the wingbacks less attacking and also just to take a bit off the intensity. But overall, I think you can see from the average ratings, we've really kind of performed quite well this season, despite all those draws. Those key players have had decent games. I mean, I'm not sure that's particularly true given that we lost 2 of our first 3 games, but if we hadn't had the start we had, given that run of draws, we would have been in real trouble. And that's it for this episode. Join us next time to see what transfer business we do over the summer and see how we get started in Season 8. See you then.